When you can't make it to your kid's game, you don't have to miss it. With Game Changer, it feels like you're there watching your kid's game live in crisp HD, following every play in real time. And replaying the moments you'll talk about later with automatic highlight reels. So even when you can't be at the game, your kid still knows you're on the sidelines cheering them on for every big moment. And Game Changer is always free to download. Live the game like never before with Game Changer.
If data management is slowing down your business, you need the Intuit ERP. If one entity is here, and one here, and one here, and one here, you need the Intuit ERP. If scaling your business feels like starting over, you need the Intuit ERP. Intuit Enterprise Suite is the AI-native ERP solution that consolidates, migrates, and automates, all in one place. Learn more at intuit.com/ERP.
Welcome back to Crime Besties. After a couple weeks break, we are back for another episode, and we really appreciate you guys joining us today.
Absolutely.
After a bit of a break.
Really appreciate everyone and like the beautiful messages online when we put out there on Instagram and our socials that, you know, we were taking the break. I have to say I really, really appreciate that. Unfortunately, I had my dad pass away. Just a couple of weeks ago, or just barely even.
Not even.
So it was very unexpected. So we sort of had to scrap what we were doing with this, obviously, and focus on other things in family and do that. So, but I just want to say I really appreciate the beautiful messages that came through on all of our socials. I actually really overwhelmed by how incredible everyone was. So thank you for sticking with us over these last 2 weeks while we took a break. But we're back, and I am not focused, but I will.
No one expects you to be.
Yeah, I know that. I know my dad would want me to be here doing this because he not that he was a listener of the podcast because technology. My mum is an avid listener, and he would often go, "Oh, you talking to Meg on the phone?" Like, no, I'm listening to a podcast.
Oh, does she not listen to it with earbuds? It's like out loud.
Oh no, God no. Technology's not there yet. No. So I know Dad was very happy with me doing this. So it's definitely something I needed to get back to, and it's refocusing my brain somewhere else. Yeah. So I apologize that I am definitely the co-host today. I am backseat driver here.
Not at all. Not at all. I think, all your dad wanted was to see you happy, and he saw how happy this made you.
Yeah.
And, a bit of a passion project on the side of
exactly.
everything else in life.
Which is definitely a trait of my dad's. So, I am here to bring on the passion project and something, and the extra projects that you add to your life. So I very much want to be here and doing this, and I know that I'm doing the right thing by him to be here. So
100%.
Yes,
100%.
Just can't promise the brain is with me.
And it doesn't need to be. We'll be fun. Look, we were just saying before we hit record, we've been less prepared before. So
yes.
I feel like you're gonna do great. I know you're gonna do great.
I know you're gonna do great. No. I'll be here with you.
No, not at all. Not at all. Just to shift the subject slightly, I do have a little bit of a humble brag today.
Oh yeah, I love it.
All right. So I think we might have even discussed this last year around Christmas, that I am a massive Black Friday, get all your shopping done kind of a gal for Christmas.
Yeah.
Ask me how many more Christmas presents I have to buy.
Don't even. Oh, I don't even want to know.
One. And it's my work KK, and I'm waiting for. You
don't even know who you've got yet, do you?
I just found out.
Yeah, right.
I literally just found out yesterday.
Yeah. I'm going to say it. Fuck you.
I mean, you've got a really good excuse.
I'm feeling really under the pump this year, because I literally life has gone on pause.
Life's been on pause for a few weeks.
Oh my God, Black Friday sales this weekend. I need to go out, and the last thing I want to do is go out to the shops.
Okay,
really
so another thing, I've only been to the shops once.
Yeah, I am definitely online shopping this year. I'm always avid online shopping.
Yeah,
but even more so this year, I just can't face the shops. But there's one particular gift that I'm going to have to go into those shops.
You want to go and see it?
I want to go and speak to someone.
Right.
I want to make sure I'm getting the right thing.
Sure.
I'm going to need to go in and actually find a person who works there who knows what they're talking about.
Oh, good luck.
Oh.
Good luck.
Like, yeah, do they exist?
I'm really not sure. Because also you get all the Christmas casuals around this time of year and you're like, do you actually know what's going on?
Been here for a couple of days, have you?
Yeah. So if you hear my doorbell ringing at any point,
it's all
I
love that. I've finished all my shopping now. I'm just waiting for it to all arrive.
Quite literally, I actually just before I had 3 notifications to say I'm getting stuff today.
Oh, wow.
And the other day, Adrienne, my neighbour, was saying, she's like, oh, the Amazon van came the other day. And
Twice.
she's like, I can't believe how many boxes it got. Okay. Amazon is great. And I'm conflicted about Amazon though, because I'm like, do I really want to be giving Jeff Bezos all of my money?
Like, he doesn't need more money, but at the same time, well done to you, because it's fucking great, really.
But also, like, we've got Prime, so most stuff comes either that day or the next day.
And the simple fact of that is what makes me go, if I can get this on Amazon, I don't have to pay shipping.
Yeah.
I will go looking for it there as well as wherever else I found it.
Also, almost everything I bought, it was cheaper on Amazon.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
So not that this is an ad for Amazon, although Amazon, if you would like to sponsor us.
Actually, we love you, Jeff Bezos.
We would not say no to that. We would not say no. But yeah, I am actually expecting some stuff.
Forget the ding dong doorbell in the midst of
in
this.
the background.
Just
that's
Emma's
why.
Christmas presents arriving.
And they'd better come today before the kids bloody get home from school.
This is the other thing. It's getting the deliveries pre-children arriving home.
It's fine in an Amazon box. That's fine, because I just like, no, you're not opening it. We're not opening it now.
Yeah.
But some of the things that we've ordered, like they'll come in packaging that identifies what's inside. We need to normalise, especially around this
Christmas
time of year.
Definitely making it look very boring.
Boring packaging.
Yeah.
No logos.
I did one the other day and I've used this once now. Now I don't know if I can use it again, but a package arrived and it was one that was a really good one that I'm like, oh God, you guys can't see that. And so I had to go and pick it up from the fucking post office as well. And I'm like, so the boys actually come in with me to get it. And I'm like, it's my shampoo and my conditioner, because I order that online. But I'm like, I ordered it like 3 months ago, which I normally, it lasts way longer than that when I do order. And so I'm like, no, it's just my shampoo and conditioner. Like, it's nothing exciting. You don't need to unpack it for me. I'll unbox like when I'm ready for it.
Thanks though.
Yeah. So how many more boring things can I say I'm ordering? Yeah.
Oh God. Oh, it's just clothes for me. Oh, it's just, I don't know.
Yeah. I usually tell them like things like, oh no, that's presents for their cousins or whatever.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's only so many times you can get away with that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Have you put up your Christmas tree yet?
We did last week. On Monday, actually, we did that after school. Yeah, that was fun.
Oh, fun in what way? Was that like fun or fun?
How does something so freaking joyous turn into an absolute shit show?
What was the shit show about? Was it about putting the star on the Christmas tree?
Putting the star on the tree is always like the biggest thing. And so what I do, right, is every year now I write on a piece of paper, like I've written for this year, like 2026, Brody will be putting the star on the tree, kind of thing.
If you go and have a look in my Christmas box right now, I have that exact piece of paper.
So I write on a huge piece of paper and shove that in the bauble box. And so that when we get it out the next year, we know who's doing that. Prior to us getting that piece of paper out, Brody was adamant, it's my year. It's my year I'm doing. I know it is. It's my year. And I'm like, well, I'm not answering this because I don't know. I legit write that piece of paper and that information exits my brain.
Yeah, because you don't need to remember.
I don't need to remember because I've written it down. It's in the bauble box. Yeah, we get the bauble box, and as soon as I saw the piece of paper saying it was Mason's doing,
you knew it was going to be a shit show.
Oh, here we go. Oh, yep. Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
And I mean, everyone's a little bit heightened in my house at the moment. So that just created
There's so many emotions. Yeah.
And so that was, I mean, I just kept trying to drown them out with more, Christmas music.
Just turn Michael Bublé up a bit.
Yeah, Mariah Carey helped a little for a while.
Oh, Mariah Carey always helps.
Yeah. I love this. Actually, I have to tell you this.
I'll go.
My work colleagues, who some of them listen, one of them is, she'll be leaving at the end of the year, right? And so the rest of my staff who are obsessed with her have said that to replace this person who is beyond amazing. I'm not naming her because she's not allowed to be named on this podcast.
She hasn't made us go viral yet.
Yep. So, so to replace this amazing person, they've said to me, the normal criteria of what we're looking for a new staff member, we need to add to that list of things that person can do to be able to replace this person. And one of the key criteria this person needs to have is know all the dance moves to Mean Girls Jingle Bells Rock dance.
Have you put that in the job ad?
I know, they're like adamant that it has to go in the job ad. This person must know every dance move to join in with them at, doing it every year at
Oh, I love it.
and every day, because this person does it every day. It's literally her, like, we start our day at this time of year and she does her Jingle Bell Rock dance.
Oh my God, I need to see this. I actually need to see this.
So yeah, I love
She
that.
is the best.
Bring on
she is great.
Christmas cheer.
Yeah, she is fantastic and irreplaceable.
Oh, absolutely.
Because I really don't think you're going to be able to find somebody who's got that kind of vibe about them.
No.
Unfortunately.
Absolutely. Yeah. There's a few other things mentioned, but that was one.
That was okay. Well, yeah. So tonight, I'll let you know next week how the putting up of the decorations went. I just love it. I bloody love it.
May the force be with you. Is
Yeah,
all I can
thanks.
say.
I did say to the boys, I'm like, we'll probably get takeaway for dinner tonight as well. So have a think about it. Like, we all obviously need to agree on what we're going to get. So that's going to cause issues as well. But I'm like, at the end of the day, Dad and I have final say.
Yeah. I just feel like it's just, when do I get the final say?
You've got to demand the final say.
I know. Dictator. I can do it. Yeah.
Iron fist. Nothing says Christmas like ruling with an iron fist. All right. So we do have an update as well on the Easy Street case. I don't know if you saw this yesterday, but Perry Corumbulas has been ordered to stand trial. So there's a directions hearing scheduled for the 17th of December. He's in custody waiting for that.
Yep.
They have dropped the carnal knowledge charge, which would be a rape charge in today's language, because there wasn't enough evidence tendered to support that. But I guess they've obviously got more to go on in terms of the double homicide. So we will sort of see how that all plays out. I think it'll be. I
thought the rape charge is what they had the more evidence on, to be really honest.
They did, but I think due to there was some degradation in the samples and that kind of thing. I think more will probably. I mean, we actually probably won't hear a lot about the rape. In the trial, but let's wait and see when the trial ends up getting scheduled for.
Does that evidence prove that he was there?
Yeah.
Can that still be used in that way?
Well, we don't really know a huge amount of. I haven't been able to find a huge amount about what evidence is going to be tendered for the trial. So we'll wait and see. But our good mate Ron Iddles did testify at the hearing and about finding the knife in the boot of his car.
He was like a real young cop.
He was a brand new cop. It was his first station. Yeah. So crazy that he was involved.
So crazy. Love that.
Love it. Anyway, we'll keep you guys updated on that. It's a really interesting one.
It really is. That is. Oh, I hope they get someone for it. That's for
Me too. We do have a few shout outs for today. So we have had some coffees bought for us. So we've got SBT Marnie, Cherie and Mimbosh. Have all bought us coffees in the last couple of weeks. So thank you very, very much for that. Or wine. I mean, let's be honest.
Especially when someone doesn't make me a coffee when I get here for my record this morning.
Oh, my God. That was, you know what? That was 100% my bad. I went to make myself a coffee before and I have no milk. I had to have a black coffee.
Did you actually go the black coffee?
I mean, I actually don't mind a black coffee, to be honest.
I don't know if I could do that.
But I do. I was going to make a milky coffee. Yeah. I was going to make a latte, but I ended up just going along black, which was fine. But I know you're not into that, so I couldn't even offer you a coffee.
I have drunk them, but
if you're going to have one, you want it to be nice. Yeah, I get that. So, sorry, we might have to go and grab a coffee after this. Or a wine. And then we've got 2 new Patreons as well. We've got Lisa Porter and KXS041. So perfect. Welcome, guys. And we really appreciate your support over there as well.
We do, particularly when we've had a couple of weeks of no episodes being put out. So that's amazing that people are still supporting us incredibly well. So, amazing.
We've also had, so I think Mim, who has bought us some coffees, she actually said that she found us about 3 weeks ago and she's listened to our entire back catalogue in 3 weeks. Yeah. I'm like, well, sorry. That's a lot. That's a lot. But we do really appreciate the support. And I just sent her a message today saying, we're recording today. So we've got a new episode coming out next week. So you don't have to wait too long for that.
No, that's it. We'll be regular. I mean, we'll have a break over Christmas, but
Yeah, we'll probably let you guys know what our Christmas schedule is in the coming week.
That's a good idea. We'll put it on the socials, what the plan is, so you know how to plan yourself out.
If you are not following us on the socials, which I believe from a couple of messages we've received, because we put out the message about having our couple of week delay, a couple of weeks off on the socials, from some messages we got through Spotify, I think that we do have some listeners who don't follow us on the socials. So please go ahead, because we do our updates over there. You can see all of the case notes that Meg pops up and all of the pictures. It's a really good way to sort of visualize what it is that we're talking about. So go and follow us on Instagram at 2crimebesties. And you can follow us on Facebook as well. We post everything over there. We also have a TikTok at 2crimebesties. So follow us on everything. And YouTube.
Well, yeah, YouTube's there too.
Yeah, YouTube's there too. It's a bit of an afterthought, but YouTube is there. All right. Should we get into today's case?
Let's jump right in.
For it? So today we are discussing the murder of Matthew Leveson. And this case really gets me, and it's because of his parents. His dad in particular, his mum absolutely. Like, they're just salt of the earth, you know, the loveliest, most genuine, down-to-earth people.
Yeah.
And you cannot fault them for what they have done for Matthew in the wake of his disappearance and subsequent death.
Yeah.
And I just think, oh my God, they are an inspiration. When I think about them, it actually makes me feel really emotional because of what they've had to do and what their life has become because of all of this and everything that's come of it.
Yeah, they've had to step up too, because unfortunately there were failings in this, and the fact that I think if almost any other family this would happen to, this would just get lost into the ether, and they have not allowed that to happen for their son. They have fought every bit. They have learnt a lot themselves. They have done so much themselves so that they've not ended up, you know, broke and everything in terms of trying to manage all of this from every aspect. They are impressive people.
Very much so. Very, very much so.
Yeah.
So Matthew Leveson was born on the 12th of December in 1986. He was actually born a day after his older brother Peter's birthday is on the 11th of December, which is also my brother's birthday.
Oh, that's funny.
But it's the story that Faye tells about his birth is actually really funny. So she actually went into labour with him 2 months before he was due.
Yeah.
And they went to, apparently they were quite a ways away from the hospital, and she'd gone into labour obviously very, very early. And so Mark tells this story of like speeding down the highway to get her to the hospital, got her to the hospital, and they ended up being able to stop labour. And Matt was then born. They ended up inducing Faye a couple of months later, and they'd booked the induction date for the 11th of December, which was their older son Peter's birthday.
Yeah.
And she's like, all I had to do was keep my legs crossed until after midnight. I did not care.
No,
I just
once
did
it was
not
after
want
midnight.
She's like, after it was midnight, it was fine. He was able to come, but I had to really, really try not to. And anyway, she succeeded in that.
Yeah.
And Matt was born on the 12th of December. And Faye was saying that she made sure that they always had, Peter and Matt always had separate birthdays, separate parties, separate cakes, separate everything. I just love that.
Love that, because I mean,
it just shows what kind of a person she is.
Absolutely. I mean, it's a lot to to have your kids' birthday parties and things, and when they're that close together, it sometimes just makes it easier to do it all together. I know I've done it one year and joined my kids' birthday party together, and they love that birthday party, because my kids aren't that far away in terms of their birthday dates. So it can be pretty tricky managing that. So good on her. I mean, it's hard work.
Yeah, but she is that type of person.
Yeah.
Like, I can totally see it.
Yeah.
She's very, very funny. So they then went on, Faye and Mark then went on to have a third child by the name of Jason. So they had 3 boys. They grew up,
energetic.
They grew up in Sydney and in New South Wales did they
Cronulla.
grow up in Cronulla? Or was that, okay.
Well, that was where they were living when and everything I researched, but I didn't see anywhere else that they moved from.
Was it Hollywood?
Oh, yeah, that was mentioned.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Anyway, they went to the same local primary school. Once Peter left primary school, they actually moved the two younger boys to a different primary school because there were just some issues with their first primary school. And Faye says that Matt really blossomed once he moved across. He really found his people, and he found like some really lifelong friends, and he really fit in, whereas I don't know that was necessarily his experience at their first primary school. They then went on to go to the same high school as one another, and I think Matt was maybe not the most studious necessarily, in that I'm not saying he wasn't studious. I think he was driven.
Yeah.
But Faye said that he wasn't really good at spelling, and that kind of ended up holding him back a little bit. He thought he might want to study, I think it was biomedical science or pathology. It was something to
like
do
that,
with pathology. And he did part of the course and then failed an exam, and it was all because of the spelling. He tried again, unfortunately, missed out by 1 mark.
Like 1 mark. It was something so close, and so then he gave it away, which I was like, I felt for him. Spelling,
it's hard. It's bloody hard, and I feel like in this day and age that probably wouldn't be
honestly,
the thing
that's what I
to
was
get
thinking
you.
too. I reckon too, and potentially if there was some sort of, I don't know, dyslexia with that or whatever, it might have been more picked up these days, and he would have been able to go on and do that. But that's really unfortunate for him. I felt for him. So
in leaving that though, he basically, actually, when he was doing his HSC, let's go back. So doing his year 11 and it was actually his year 12.
Year 12, yeah.
And he was very comfortable in high school. He'd had a girlfriend. They were together for a little while, and then they kind of broke up but remained extremely good friends. So this friend of his, this ex-girlfriend, best friend of his, Matt ended up coming out to her first, and he really sort of then started telling more and more of his friendship group, and it was coming up to his final exams in year 12, and I guess he must have felt like it was hanging over his head.
Well, I think he with the exam situation, he was in a lot of stress on him for the exam situation. And that was hanging over him as well, that he hadn't told his parents that information. I think that the combination of the two was like, if I tell my parents this, I can focus on my exams better. Like I can get that off my chest, you know? So I think that was where it was sort of sitting for him, was I need to get this out of my head and move on from it. Like, because he didn't know what the reaction would be, which I think I find interesting that I find that
interesting.
Yeah.
So he ended up writing a letter to his mum and dad, and he left it on the kitchen bench, sent them a text message saying,
kill him.
Oh, fuck, I'd kill him. Left a text message on sent them both a text message to say, I've left a letter on the bench for you. Can you please read it? Oh, my God.
Oh.
And then he went to his friend's house and waited there so Faye said she was just beside herself, and then she read it and she was like, oh. Is that all it is?
Yeah, I love that. That was we kind of knew.
Well, she said from the time he was 4, she knew.
Yeah.
It wasn't a surprise, and nor did it matter to them. It was not an issue to them at all.
No.
Faye did say that she cried, and it wasn't because Matt was gay. It was because at the time, gay hate crimes were really prevalent, and she was scared for him.
She was just scared
worried
for him and that stuff. And I think as a parent, I can understand that. But yeah, just like wanting your child to have their best life and not have to worry about that shit, which is just awful, so I can understand where she was coming from with that.
Absolutely.
But they clearly, neither their parents, and it was interesting hearing that. I think it was her parents that's right. Sorry, Mark's parents had passed away by this stage, but he said his parents would have accepted Matt for being gay 100%, whereas her parents, I think, were still around, and that wasn't something they were going to be able to accept really easily.
Well, they didn't tell her parents.
So they just didn't tell them.
Yeah. And, we can get to how that all came out to them a bit later. But so, he was just living his best life at this point, I guess, getting that off his chest, doing the HSC, and then he ended up obviously getting into this pathology course and all of that sort of stuff, beyond that. So once the pathology course was no longer, Matt ended up getting a job at the NRMA call centre.
Or even before that, Big W. He loved working at Big W too.
I think he was doing that while he was at uni maybe. which, I mean, we've all had those part-time jobs. It's very relatable.
Yep.
So he then started working at the NRMA call centre, and he worked from Tuesday to Saturday.
Yeah.
And he actually really made a couple of he was friends with everyone. It sounds like he was just a really lively, bubbly, happy person.
Yeah.
You know, one of those people that everyone gets along with. But in particular, he made friends with two people, and in particular, a girl by the name of Kerry Ann.
Yeah.
And they would see each other outside of work, but then also when they were at work, they'd have lunch together and all of that sort of stuff. And by her account, he loved his job. He never called in sick. He was always there, really helpful, great with his, customer service, good at doing what he did. And it afforded him the life that he wanted, which at that time, he was 20 years old at this time, and he wanted to party. He wanted to go out and have a great time and have fun and meet new people and dance and all of this sort of stuff.
Yeah.
I guess just really quickly around this time, or just preceding his job at NRMA, Matt did have a boyfriend.
Yes.
So I think they were together from year 12.
Yeah.
So it was a little bit before Matt came out to Faye and Mark and his brothers. And they were together for quite some time, and he was a lovely boy. They got along really, really well. They travelled a lot together. So they went internationally, they went interstate. They'd get, apparently they used to go on the computer at, midnight on it to get
right.
Tight Ass Tuesday flights and stuff, or sale flights.
That's right. She said that used to get really great, like $50 flights to like Tassie and stuff like that, and just jump on a plane and go. Yeah.
What a life.
Oh, totally.
Only an 18, 19, 20-year-old could do that.
Yeah.
So, yeah, they really, they loved spending time with one another, but it kind of got to a point where I think they were both looking to explore something else. They were both so young. I don't think anything happened, nothing bad happened, but they decided to part ways and sort of go their separate ways. I believe they remained friends and remained in contact. And around this time, actually, Matt met a man by the name of Michael Atkins. We're going to call him Atkins because that is the way that Mark and Faye refer to him. They don't want to give him they don't want his first name. They don't want to use it. They don't believe in it. So I think we'll probably continue down that same track. So Atkins it is. Now, Atkins was significantly older than Matt.
Significantly. Like, was it 25 years?
25 years older.
Yep.
Yeah, it's a lot. So being that Atkins was 25 years Matt's senior, he'd actually only been out as being a gay man for about 4 or 5 years prior to meeting Matt. They met in early 2006, and Atkins was a door security person at the Sutherland Sports Club, and before that he worked as a security guard at Star City Casino in Sydney. Atkins also had, to make a little bit more money, he had arcade machines in different places. And one of the places that he had a machine in will become relevant later on in the story.
Yeah.
But
were they vending machines or arcade games?
I think they were arcade games.
I thought they were vending machines. Okay, cool.
I think it was like a basketball game.
Oh, okay, right. Yeah, right.
So... okay. So he was a third Dan black belt in ninjutsu.
Yeah.
And in the 1990s, so the fact that even in the 1990s he was working just says a lot.
Yeah.
But in the 1990s, he owned a, what was it? Like a dojo.
Yeah, right. Because he was at a level of beyond a black belt.
It was like
You've
two levels. Oh my God, that was my doorbell. Just in case you heard it, that was delivery number one. So that was So he was beyond a black belt. So he was able to have his own dojo. I think, because of that.
Yeah.
Don't know what happened to that business, but he wasn't doing it. At the time of Matt's death, he was actually working as an electrician for a large electrical company.
Yeah.
So Atkins really enjoyed socialising with men of Matt's age group.
Yeah.
He's been known to have relationships with men as young as 17 or boys as young as 17. Being a 45-year-old man, it's just, it's disgusting.
Yeah, I really can't get my head around that at all. I really struggle with that.
Imagine if they were 17-year-old girls and
This
he was
is
a 45-year-old
exactly it.
man.
I feel like there's not enough outrage of it.
He's a predator.
Yeah, I agree. Because if this was, if this was mixed gender, it would be outrage. But because they're gay men, there's not as much. And I feel like, no, I have the same rage.
100%.
I don't like it. It's
gross.
The power
it's
imbalance
disgusting.
is there, and it's not okay.
Oh, and his behaviour is predatory. The fact that he's going around seeking out young boys and young men. Like, you can't tell me 18, 19-year-olds with a 45-year-old. No.
No, I don't.
That's an absolute hard no.
No. And I mean, I get where like where his parents were coming from in that they struggled with it and trying to like have conversations with Matt about it. In that, I guess it's very new to them of like managing this whole scenario of like, that their son is gay or what have you. But I don't know, I couldn't have handled it. I couldn't have not spoken up more.
Have you
said something?
Like, have you heard Faye and Mark talking about this?
Yeah.
And that, so from very early on in their relationship.
Yeah.
So first of all, Faye and Mark had no idea how old he was, right? How old Atkins was. So
all
they
right.
met. Well, but
He lied, didn't he? He did lie about his age.
He
in
lied.
that
So
sense.
he said he was 34 when he was in fact 45.
Even that's too old.
It's better.
It's
11
better.
years better, but
Yeah.
it's still not good.
No.
But that, to me, the fact that he lies shows he knows it's not right.
This is it. Exactly.
Right?
Yeah.
So when Faye and Mark met Atkins for the first time, they all went out for dinner at some restaurant in Cronulla. And Mark says, Matt walked in with an old man.
Yeah, they call him an old man. And that to me was like, well then, that's gross.
But Matt had said he's 34 and Mark was like, well, he was definitely closer to our age because he liked the same music
He liked the
as
same
us.
music, all those sorts of things. He was more that era.
And he was only in the end, well, again, we'll get to how they found that out, but he was only in the end 5 years younger than Mark and 3 years younger than Faye.
No.
Yep.
Oh, vomit.
Yep, vomit.
No.
Total vomit.
No.
So Matt and Atkins, so when they first got together, obviously there was a little bit of, I feel like Matt probably knew this wasn't kosher. Really.
Yeah.
Like if he's dating an older man. At one point, Matt actually went missing in that
It's fairly early on in this,
in their relationship.
Yeah.
He went and stayed with Atkins for a few days, wasn't contactable. I think Faye and Mark had maybe let their feelings know that he wasn't really, they weren't really approving of the relationship, and Matt kind of pushed away. They were unable to contact Matt at this point, so they actually did end up going to the police and reporting him missing.
Yeah.
And eventually a few days later, Matt's made contact with them. They've started communicating again. Obviously, they've let the police know that Matt's been found and he's all good and well.
It's all fine. Yeah.
It's all okay. Around about that time as well, Matt decides to move in with Atkins. And even this I find really bizarre because Matt obviously really wanted that, and Atkins also wanted that. Atkins wanted him to himself.
Yeah.
But then Faye talks about how after Matt's death, they actually discovered that Matt hadn't moved straight into Atkins' house or Atkins' apartment. No. He had actually been essentially living out of his car. He wasn't allowed to move any of his possessions into the unit for months.
Wasn't allowed to be there unless Atkins was there. And so then he would have to, he'd get home from work and wait in his car until Atkins got home so that he could go in. So I want to know what the I'd love to understand, was the arrangement from Atkins, you're moving in with me, but these are the rules, you have to abide by them? Or was Matthew like, oh, my parents aren't happy with me seeing him, but I need to commit to this, and so I'm going to say I've moved in with him, but I haven't. And I'll push it so that Atkins will let me move in.
I feel like that could actually go either way, but my gut feeling on it is it was the first.
Same.
Yeah.
And that makes it even more awful.
Yeah, for sure.
That's coercive control.
100%. And look,
all that.
I think the more we talk about this, the more you guys will see that, or hear, that there was so much coercive control involved in this relationship, and it is not okay. It is never, ever okay.
No way.
So they, in all of this, I guess eventually Matt did move in an official capacity, got a key, was able to move his clothes into part of a wardrobe, and, you know, they were essentially living together then.
Instagram teen accounts have automatic protections for what teens see and who can contact them, plus time management tools. And Instagram will continue adding built-in safety features to help create age-appropriate experiences. Learn more about teen accounts and Instagram's ongoing work to protect teens online at instagram.com/teen accounts.
What Faye says is that after Matt had gone missing that first time, he said to her, "I will never, ever do that again. I am so sorry. I understand how awful that was."
Genuinely
for you.
got how upset his parents were and that he promised he'd never do it again. Yeah.
And Faye, of course, believed him, because he was so genuine. He saw how distressed he was. He didn't want to upset his mum and dad. He was still figuring things out. And the fact that he was now with this much older man who, and as you pointed out, Meg, there was a massive power imbalance right from the early stages of this relationship.
Yeah.
Matt probably didn't really know where he stood, to be honest.
No, I think, these people that manage to do this are incredibly manipulative. He had some hold over him that we'll never understand. And that I'm not saying that to be like, that, Matt should have seen it, because in those incidents when they can do that to you, it's incredible how much you are blinded by what's going on, and the fact that he could potentially, I do lean this way, that he could potentially say to him, you've moved in with me, but you can't be in my apartment on your own. I mean, that should be a red flag entirely to someone. But in these situations, there'll be a way that was put to him of like, no, this is what I deserve, or this is how this works in this world. That's what happens.
It's my apartment, and I'm just letting you be here. I'm letting
you be here, and you should feel privileged for that. I don't know how they do it, because I'm not that way inclined, but they've got language they use to be able to make you feel that that's what is okay, and that you're supposed to just it doesn't sit right, but okay, all right. Well, I guess the benefit outweighs the negative here somewhere.
You're meant to be grateful for the little crumbs they're giving to you.
Yeah, so suck of shit.
Matt and Atkins, their lifestyle was, they'd work. They were going to work, going to the gym, and they would party at the Arc nightclub in Flinders Street in Darlinghurst on a Saturday night. When I say Saturday night, into the early hours of Sunday morning, because they often would party until 5 or 6 o'clock in the morning. Yeah. Now, Atkins being 45 years old, I'm 40. I could not do that.
No.
But anyway.
Day drinking is my new favourite hobby.
There is nothing better than a day drink. So,
bed at normal 8 p.m.
And then you have a really good sleep.
Yes, I need my sleep.
Nothing beats it. So they would then generally spend the following day at friends' places recovering. And then Matt would then go out again on a Sunday night, because his weekend was Sunday, Monday. Yeah. So he could go out on a Sunday night because he didn't have work on a Monday.
Yeah.
And often Atkins wouldn't attend, or he would attend for some of the time.
Would he let him go without him?
Occasionally.
Okay.
So, this is Atkins' story though, so we don't actually know, although friends of his did testify that they would sometimes have time with Matt, especially early on.
Okay.
The further their relationship got on though, the less that happened.
Yeah.
They were, so in the trial, the friends of theirs their pseudonyms were given as Jack Smith and Sally White, and they would go back to their house and party there sometimes on a Sunday as well. They would take drugs like party drugs, MDMA or ecstasy, and GHB. And it came, I guess, to be that Atkins was selling GHB. I don't know if he was selling ecstasy. I believe it was just GHB.
I think it was GHB.
Just GHB, but I believe it was GHB. And they'd sell it in those little fishies, the little soy sauce
fish things have been now
and
banned.
They were making an absolute fortune from this. They were making, when I say they, Atkins was making fat stacks of cash selling ecstasy at the nightclub. And Well, I think Matt would sell it as well. Now, would he have done so had he not been involved in a relationship with Atkins? Who knows? But obviously being involved with him and this was just something that they did, that was definitely something that they would do on a Saturday night at Arc.
Yeah.
They would generally take Matt's car to Arc and Atkins would drive normally. So Matt had a Toyota Corolla, green Toyota Corolla, and Peter had an old car that had a massive stereo system in it.
Yes.
And then he upgraded his car or got a new car and the stereo system didn't fit. So he gave it to Matt and helped him install it in his Toyota
big
Corolla.
subwoofers.
Which
yeah.
apparently took up like 75% of the boot.
Yeah.
Now, a Corolla boot isn't massive anyway, but like for it to take up 75% of the boot, it must have been huge.
Oh, it was just like the style at the time,
Yeah.
though. Like I remember,
I wonder
had
if
the
you had one of
shittiest
those
car
face plates that
the
you know,
face
that
plate,
you took
click
with
it off
you.
and
Yeah.
take with you. I know, I had one of those.
Yeah, I think we all did.
Yeah.
That was and
And my
you put it in
shitty
your
car was like the stereo was worth more than my car.
Yeah. Oh, same.
Easy.
Same. I don't know. I used to use a club lock on my car
Same.
sometimes too, and I
Yeah.
could use the club lock key to unlock my car.
That's not right.
It helped in a pinch. You couldn't start the car with the club lock key though. You could just open it.
Okay. That's not great then, because then you can get in the car and unlock the club lock. So
Yeah, that's right. And then,
yeah.
I don't know,
Hot wire it.
It was such a shitbox. No one was ever going to steal that car. My little
I don't
Holden
know.
Barina.
I can know my shittest car that I had and it got stolen. So,
Oh, that's right. We've
yeah.
talked about that on the podcast before, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh my God, that was a piece
That's
of shit
funny.
car, but I loved it. It was my car.
Yes. Anyway, so he had this subwoofer in the back and
Yeah.
they would drive away from Arkham. People would know that they were leaving because they could hear the music
yeah.
and the bass from the subwoofer as they were driving away at like 5 o'clock in the morning. So I guess, is there anything else you want to talk about in relation to like leading up to this point?
I don't think so. I think you're covering it so well. Thank you.
Oh, not at all.
No, I think you've covered it really
right.
well.
If there's anything else, we can always
Yeah, we can always come back, but I think you've got it.
Okay, so on Saturday, the 22nd of September in 2007, Matt and Atkins arrived at the Arc nightclub with Jack Smith, who I was talking about earlier. So he was one of the people who they'd often party with and who they would then go to their house maybe for recovery on Sundays. They arrived at about midnight. Again, oh my God, showing my age, but arriving at midnight, that's I'm home in bed by midnight.
And nothing good ever happens after midnight, people. That's my lesson for all the young people out there.
Good point. Good point. We'll have to instill that in our children soon. They left the club on Sunday, the 23rd of September, so early the next morning, between 2:15 and 2:30 a.m., and which was unusually early for them. The last sighting of Matt is recorded on the Arc CCTV footage. The footage was recorded at on the timestamp on the footage says 2:11 a.m.
Yeah,
but it was actually 2:20 a.m. because the time was out by about 9 minutes on the CCTV.
Okay.
So a couple of unusual things. First unusual thing is that they left so early, and that was very not like them. They'd only arrived at midnight. They were almost always one of the last to leave at that sort of 5 or 6 a.m. So it was really unusual that they'd left a little bit earlier.
Yep.
Apparently during the night, so Peter, Matt's older brother, had been at Arc nightclub that night and had seen Matt and Atkins. He noted that they weren't together for a lot of the night and that Matt seemed happy and it all kind of looked okay. He did notice that at one point Matt and Atkins went out onto a balcony and he thinks something might have happened out there because then there was a bit of tension between them. But Peter didn't really think that much about it, not even enough to say to Matt, hey, what's going on? I don't think. So, that's kind of where things are at.
Yeah.
So after Matt and Atkins have left Arc nightclub, Matt texts one of his friends at, what time was that? 3:31 a.m. on Sunday, the 23rd of September. He sent this text to a friend named John Burns. That's another pseudonym.
After they've left.
After they've left.
Yeah,
left.
Yeah.
And it basically said, actually, I've got it written down what the exchange was because it's
interesting
quite
little
interesting.
exchange. Yeah.
So Mr. Burns sent Matt a text saying, "Hey, babe, where are you?" Matt replied, "Mike's having a fucking cry. He's taking me home and won't stay, fucking cunt." Mr. Burns replied, "Oh, shit, that's no good." Matt replied, "He needs to get over himself." Mr. Burns responded, "Oh, well, I'm sure you'll be all right." And that was the end of their text exchange.
That's the last sort of sign of life that we have of Matt from that night then. Yeah.
That's exactly right. It's
clear from those messages that things were not okay between him and Atkins. But it also, to me, says that Matthew was clear thinking.
Yep, agreed.
In that he was able to text that. There's not spelling errors, I don't believe, in the text when I've seen them.
There's just like nuances in, like the way you text, like fucking is FKN.
Yes.
Just
Oh,
stuff
no,
like
but
that.
to me that's actually using like, your brain in terms of like actively thinking about sending messages. Like that's how, you text.
Yeah.
You're not just texting like when you're drunk kind of text kind of going, like he was doing his usual abbreviations, all those sorts of things of his text messaging style.
Yep.
So to me he was, because I guess we get to the point where, Atkins, like it says that they left because Matt was too drug induced. At one stage, anyways, one of his stories. That message, those messages don't, to me, correlate with that. The way they've the way they've written, and the fact that he's responded back and forth with someone. You know what I mean?
100%. And Peter also says that in his interactions with Matt at the nightclub, he's like, yeah, he was on something, but he was by no means like incapacitated or anything like that. He was just having a good time.
Yeah. He was known to take an eckie and here and that.
Yep.
But and so it wasn't unusual for him to have had drugs in his system or something for that.
Yeah.
But not to the point of where he was incapacitated and needed to get home because he was, in a bad way with drugs.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. So, I mean, I guess it's really hard now to sort of know exactly what happened because we still actually have no idea.
No.
What
there's an interaction as they leave too. So so that Atkins takes Matt to the car, puts him in the car, and then he returns back to the nightclub to talk to, is it Jack White, I think it is, that he interacts with back at the nightclub, and he goes to him and has another conversation with him. And I think this is seen on CCTV.
Yes.
That he is there for about 30 minutes.
Yeah.
And then returns back to the car and leaves. So again, if he's taking Matt home because he's so drug induced and he's out of control, needs help for this, how much drugs he's had, are you going to leave him in the car for 30 minutes on his own and go back in and go and do things? There was also a text message exchange between him and Matt saying, I need more of the GHB drugs,
That's
it?
Right.
That he needed
it was
to
the
actually
GHB,
collect more.
Yeah.
So he needed to get more off of him to be able to go back to this Jack White with a bit of a stash of those. So it doesn't all correlate in terms of when
Matt
they left.
Was even with it enough to be able to be like, yeah, I'll get that together for you and give it to you. Because according to Atkins, they would keep a stash in the car. They wouldn't take everything into the nightclub with them. They would go back and forth between the car, pop the cash back, take some more in, whatever.
Yeah.
And that's what he said he did at this point. But if they've, CCTV footage shows that Matt left the nightclub at 2:20 a.m., then you can actually see I believe there was other CCTV footage that showed you could see the car driving past Arc nightclub, and that was at 3:30 or 3-something a.m. So you're right, that fits with that time that
I think it could have been up to almost 15 minutes or something like that he went back in after putting Matt in the car. So to me, there's been more of there's been an argument between them. And look, he was quite a jealous man from what I could read about.
Absolutely.
To me, there's been an interaction where he's not happy with Matt in terms of, someone else interacting with him. And so he's gone, nah, that's it. You're out of here. You go stay in the car. Let's go get the other drugs and you can stay there because, you're flirting with someone or someone's flirting with you. And so he's sat in the car. Well, he's gone back in for like 50 minutes. Like, that's not someone who's then going, I need to get Matt out of here.
Or
He's not in a good
caring
way.
about his partner in any way.
Yeah, well.
Matt had worked on that Saturday at the NRMA call centre, and Kerry Ann, his bestie from work, her recollection of that day was that Atkins was calling him non-stop all day, and Matt would not answer, did not answer.
Right.
And to the point where at lunchtime they were sitting together and she saw that Atkins' name came up on Matt's phone and he was like, fuck off, Mike.
Yeah,
Like,
right.
just so I think, like, I'm just looking at this from an overall perspective. I think Matt had had enough. He'd had enough. He'd gotten to the end of his tether with the controlling nature of this relationship.
Yeah.
He'd mentioned to Kerry Ann and to another friend that he wanted to cash out his leave at NRMA and go over to London and go overseas for a little bit of time just to get some distance between him and Atkins.
Would have been a really good idea.
He probably felt like there was no other way out.
This is it.
And whether he'd communicated that with Atkins and Atkins knew he wanted to leave and wanted to go overseas without him, I don't know.
No.
But I just wonder. I
Yeah.
really, really wonder.
'Cause his
He was
mum-
losing control.
Yeah, because his mum also says there was just their last meeting of each other. Matt had kind of lingered a little bit more in like Atkins had went and he was left with his mum for a few minutes. That she tried to approach him to have a bit of try and have a conversation of like, hey, are you happy in this relationship kind of chat? And she felt like she was going to be able to get somewhere with him, and Atkins appeared and it ended it, and it was all done and couldn't be spoken about again. So
I think Faye and Mark tried on so many occasions to have that conversation, but it actually got to the point where they couldn't get Matt on his own. One day, so Faye and Mark is an accountant and they owned their own accountancy business that Faye also worked in. And one day they asked Matt to come to the office because they thought that might be a way that they can get him away from Atkins, because why the fuck would Atkins want to go to the accounting firm?
Yeah.
Of course, Atkins rocked up with Matt.
Yeah.
And then they actually got the receptionist to engage in a conversation with
Try and
Atkins.
distract him.
To try and, distract him.
Yeah.
Took Matt into the kitchen
Yes.
of the of their
Office
workplace.
kind of thing.
Yeah,
Yeah.
workspace. And Faye was starting to try and, again, introduce that same sort of conversation. And she said, in a moment, Atkins appeared and I couldn't do it. There was no way she could even have a solo communication
with her own son. Just
I
breaks your
think
heart.
that is disgusting. Like, that is so controlling. Like, and the fact that he was willing to do that in front of his parents, imagine what things were like behind closed doors.
This is the thing. I can only imagine if that's how controlling he was blatantly in front of others. Holy shit.
Yeah.
Yeah. What he would do behind closed doors.
Oh, it's a scary, scary thought.
Yeah.
So what we do know then is, so the Sunday, they've gone home in the early hours of the morning, somewhere around 3 o'clock, 3:30. And then we don't really know anything else until the Tuesday. So Matt is due at work at his call centre job. As I said before, he very rarely, if ever, called in sick. He certainly wouldn't not show up for work without calling in.
Yeah.
Jason, Matt's younger brother, was actually at home with glandular fever at the time.
Yep.
And Mark and Faye were at work, and the supervisor at NRMA actually phoned the Leveson household. Jason answered the phone and said, do you know where Matt is? And Jason was like, no, I don't know where he is. He doesn't really live here anymore.
Yeah.
And so Jason didn't really think that much more of it. When Faye rang to check, I love this, rang to check on Jason because he was at home with glandular fever during the day, Jason just sort of said, oh, by the way, actually, Matt's work supervisor called and said he hadn't shown up for work today.
Yeah.
Immediately Faye knew something was wrong.
Yeah. Yep.
She rang the supervisor. The supervisor told her that Atkins had phoned twice that morning to see whether they knew where Matt was, which was odd.
Weird.
And so Faye then contacted Atkins. He didn't answer his phone for a little while, but eventually he did call her back and said, I don't know where he is. I thought you might know. I thought he'd at least rock up. I assumed he'd been staying with friends. This was his first story. I assumed he'd been staying with friends, and I just assumed he'd rock up to work. So that's why I rang to check.
Yeah, his initial story was that, he'd gone out on the Sunday. Atkins said he stayed sleeping. He slept until like about 3:00 in the afternoon or something. And Matt, and this is where I go, well, this is bullshit, because he said that that Matt had gone out on his own Sunday night with friends, and then so that was the last he saw of him. Was before he went out to go with his mates that night, which, as we know, he wouldn't have let Matt go somewhere on his own.
Not at that point in their
Not
relationship.
At that point.
Absolutely
no.
not.
So, he tried. I mean, again, it was just him sort of trying to, I think, make out as if he would have, but there's no way he would have. Yep. But he changed his story 3 times in the first 12 hours of this being known to people that he was missing.
Yep.
Oh.
Yep.
Adobe Acrobat, your new foundation. Use PDF spaces to generate a presentation. Grab your docs, your permits, your moves. AI levels up your pitch, gets it in a groove. Choose a template with your timeless cool. Come on now, let's flex those tools. Draft, design, deliver, make it sing. AI builds the deck so you can build that thing. Do that, do that, do that with Acrobat.
Learn more at adobe.com/do-that-with-Acrobat.
The Lincoln Spring Sales Event is on now, and there's never been a better time to experience the feeling of driving a Lincoln. Pictures, sunlight through the available panoramic vista roof, music, weather, and maps on the 48-inch panoramic display, and a drive so smooth that inspiration rides up front. Stepping out better than you got in. That's the Lincoln feeling. Get behind the wheel of the 2026 Lincoln Nautilus SUV and discover exceptional offers only at your local Lincoln retailer.
Yeah, it's revolting. It's so bad.
Really
so
bad.
So bad. So basically, this is on the Tuesday, sort of morning-ish, that Mark and Faye have figured, oh my gosh, we don't actually know where Matt is.
Yeah.
They tried calling his phone. They've messaged him. They've called all of his friends who they know, and they are quite familiar with a lot of his friends because they were that kind of family who they were very close and very involved.
Between the brothers, like kind of thing, they were friends with them as well a little bit. And so it was like, if, that Peter would know some of his mates and, so it was, made it a lot easier, I think, for them to get around to friends and go, right, well, what's going on here? Where is he?
That's exactly right.
Yeah,
exactly. So that's sort of where they started. And, as I said, Atkins did call back, but he's saying he doesn't know anything. Faye and Mark give him, I guess, the benefit of the doubt early on. But by the time 9 p.m. comes that night, Mark and Faye were like, we have not been able to find him. We don't know where he is. We don't know where his car is.
Yeah.
Like they'd gone, driven around to, actually Peter and his girlfriend had gone driving around looking for him, looking for his car, just looking like all the places he would normally go.
Yeah.
And, by the way, actually, so this was on the Tuesday.
Yeah.
On the Sunday, Peter and his girlfriend were shopping at Woolworths.
Yes.
And they'd seen
They bumped into Atkins
at Woolworths.
Yeah.
Without
Matt. No. And they had a conversation with him. They did, interact. They were able to tell the police in the end what Atkins was wearing at that point.
A lilac shirt and
a
slacks.
cargo camo shorts.
Yep.
So they were able to tell the police a bit about this interaction on the Sunday, which it really sort of sets it up a little bit, I guess, because that already says, well, your story that Matt was with you Sunday is bullshit because we saw you on Sunday at Woolworths too. So he had to keep changing the story because people were finding new things.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What a fuckwit. And so, Peter Leveson called Atkins as well and was like, hey, what's the go? Because also it's not like Atkins said anything to Peter at Woolworths that day about Matt.
No.
Or that anything that he didn't know where Matt was, or that he hadn't come home, or that he'd gone out and he didn't know where he was. Nothing was mentioned like that at all.
No.
So this is now back to the Tuesday evening. Mark and Faye call Atkins and they say, meet us down at the police station. We're reporting Matt missing.
Yes.
Atkins, they had to call him 3 times before he agreed to go down there and meet him. And Mark basically said to him, you were the last person to see him. You need to come. You will be there.
It.
So
why
they met.
Why wouldn't you want to at that
Oh,
point?
my God.
If
Exactly.
Yeah.
Why would you resist? Mm-hmm. They go down to the police station at 11 p.m. that night, on the Tuesday night, and report Matt missing. And this is where Mark and Faye learn how old Atkins is, because they have to fill out a police report.
Yeah.
And part of that is giving identification. Mark and Faye hand over their licenses, and Faye says, in a really bizarre turn of events, Atkins had written down on a piece of paper his details.
Right.
So he didn't have to say it out loud, and passed it over to the police officer who was taking down the statement.
That's even more evidence that he knows how wrong it is.
100%. But Mark says, even though I have really shit eyesight, I actually could see his date of birth on there, and I realised he's 45, not 34.
Oh, sickening.
Disgusting. And so obviously that immediately alarm bells for them.
Yeah. I think for Faye, she already had alarm bells about him big time. I love that, and I love it about him, but Mark was a little bit more, like it's just how things go. And,
and
it
Matt
was a
loved
bit more,
him and sort of accepted the fact that this was the person that his son had fallen in love with.
Whereas Mum, I'm on to
knew.
you.
She knew.
Her gut instinct was kicking in immediately, I think, from when she first met him. That the things weren't right about him.
That's it.
Yeah.
So the very next day, so part of that, they've obviously said that they've reported what Matt's car is, make and model, and all of that sort of stuff. So it was actually on the Thursday, the morning of the 27th of September, the police located Matt's car, and it was parked at Waratah Oval.
Yeah.
Now, in Sutherland. Now, this site is significant for a couple of reasons, but the main reason is that these arcade machines that Atkins housed were at the facility at this next door to this oval, and you could see where Matt's car was parked from where his these machines that he tends to, every fortnight or whatever.
Yeah.
You could see where Matt's car was parked from there.
Wow.
So the police have done a search of the car, and they found some empty food wrappers on the floor near the passenger seat. Faye and Mark had said that in the boot there was this massive subwoofer. So they've opened the boot to sort of have a look and see what was the go in there. The boot was empty.
Not completely empty. Yeah,
aside from one little thing.
Yeah.
And that was a Bunnings Warehouse receipt.
For $12.20 on Sunday the 23rd of September.
And what was on the receipt, Meg?
There was 2 items purchased from Bunnings. There was we'll call it a pickaxe, basically, a mattock.
Yep.
And the other thing was some duct tape, some fairly heavy-duty duct tape.
Yeah, like
gaffer tape.
Gaffer tape, yeah, like really heavy-duty gaffer tape.
Yeah. They were able to then, from that receipt, the police did go down to the Bunnings where it was purchased from.
Because it was purchased in cash too.
Yes.
It wasn't purchased with a credit card.
Credit card. So they went down and they were able to get the CCTV from that Bunnings, and on it they could see that those items were purchased by a person wearing a lilac T-shirt and cargo shorts that were camo, exactly how Peter and his girlfriend had described Atkins that day on the Sunday when they had bumped into him shortly after this. So he was buying things at Woolies that day as well. So on the CCTV, they were very clear that was him. Like there was no question.
Apparently it was like some of the clearest CCTV footage ever, because it was at a cash register.
Yeah.
It's close. You can see his face. It's not like, oh, could that be him?
Yeah, it's not a distance of someone just walking in a car park situation.
It was
up close. They knew it was him, but also matching not only like his facial, like which is, you can tell it's him, but also then the clothing that 2 separate people have identified him wearing, like from another time at that same day. Crazy. So I had that CCTV footage. They then pull in Matt Atkins for a chat. Now, at this point, he's cautioned. He's not arrested. He is not a suspect at this point. This is a conversation they're going to have willingly with him about what he knows of Matt missing.
So he can leave at any time. He was cautioned as a witness.
Yes.
Not as a suspect.
So they start to interview him and they bring up with him the Bunnings. And were you at Bunnings? And he flat out lies. No, wasn't at Bunnings. So the cops know he's lying. So at that point, he becomes a suspect. But they do not take him out and re-caution him as a suspect so that he is under full understanding of what his obligations here are, and that the fact is that he's now being looked at in a different way. That changes legally how he is looked at in the courts. So basically, the fact that the police now have changed their opinion of him means that the courts now need him to understand that for that what he gives as evidence to be able to be used in court. But they don't do that. They continue to interview him and ask him about this, which he continues to deny. They do offer him to see the CCTV footage, which at first he does agree to, but then as they talk a little bit more and get to it, he says, no, don't want to see it, don't need to, it's not me.
He also, I think, because they said to him, anything that you say or do while you are watching this footage can be used against you.
Right.
And so he decided, I'm not going to see it then.
But he wasn't formally cautioned of those things. As in, he wasn't taken back out to where he needs to be done, out separately to the custody manager.
Yeah. Whatever, yep.
So, yeah, it's really crap at this. This is where, unfortunately, this case, there's so many failings from this point onwards from the police that this is where the Levesons are just not dealt with how they should be.
Yeah.
Unfortunately. But yeah. So
and we can talk a little bit later about why we think that is too.
Yeah.
I mean, this is a procedural failure. That's okay, that's not good.
Yeah.
It should never have happened. I can see that. But then as things go on, there's other failures
so much else
that I'm just like, why did this happen to this person and to this family?
Yeah.
I wonder.
Yeah, it's very interesting.
Yep.
So basically in this interview, he completely denies that it's him at Bunnings, but the cops are very aware it's definitely him. Yeah. And the items that he's purchased, I mean, are very suspect. Very suspect. On that, he does eventually say that he did purchase those items for creating a vegetable patch back at his apartment where there's only a communal garden.
Yeah.
And even that he had never sought the permission to be able to do that there. He had some zucchinis that he was growing out on his deck that on his balcony, which he was sort of said he was going to plant them there. And like what, with the gaffer tape? And also it was very close to the beach there in Cronulla, so the sand would not have required a pickaxe or a mattock to...
Like you could dig with your hands, probably.
Yeah, it was very sandy soil, so a pickaxe wasn't really required for that.
Yeah.
So they did go hard on him in this interview in terms of that information, but unfortunately because he wasn't cautioned around it, it is now unusable in court.
Inadmissible, unfortunately.
Yeah.
His story at this point to the police was that they'd obviously gone to Arc Nightclub. They'd left early because they had a bit of a tiff.
Yep. And he was very adamant on this word tiff rather than he kept they would use the word argument did you have an argument? He'd be like, we had a tiff.
No, a little tiff.
So he was really trying to minimise it big time.
Absolutely. So he said that they'd gone to sleep at about 5 a.m. and woken somewhere between 2 and 3 o'clock in the afternoon. He thought that Matt had gone out to Arc with friends on the Sunday night because they'd left the club early the night before.
Yeah.
And he said that at about 8:30 p.m. he was with Matt on the couch watching television, and then Atkins fell asleep.
Yeah.
He woke at about 1 a.m. on the couch.
On the Monday, is he saying then that?
On the Monday morning, and Matt wasn't home. So he said, I just assumed Matt had gone out to the Arc nightclub again.
Yeah.
Without me.
Mm-hmm. On the Monday night before he went to work on Tuesday.
No, this was on the Sunday night.
On the Sunday night.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Obviously he told so many lies during this first record of interview
yes.
about denying going to Bunnings. But just before the police brought him in on the Thursday, they actually phoned him to say, we need to speak to you. He was at work. He told the police he was at work at the time 2 hours away.
Yeah.
And so he said to them, yep, happy to come in, but I'm going to have to finish work and then it'll take me 2 hours to drive to the police station for an interview. By this stage, the police were already onto him.
Yeah.
And obviously he was already a suspect. He's the person closest to Matt. He should be a suspect. In any investigation, you always start with the people closest.
And when you can't rule them out, quickly.
Yep.
Yes,
let's
absolutely.
Get
That
on top of
makes
this.
that really, yeah.
So they had a surveillance car on him. So they knew he wasn't 2 hours away at work. He was actually in the next suburb across.
Yeah.
And what he did when he finished work was he went home. They had another unit waiting at home at his house, at his apartment. And so they intercepted him before he was able to go inside at this point. They've then taken him down to the police station and performed this first interview.
So this is where that really frustrates me a lot in terms of that fact that he wasn't cautioned properly.
Although there were reasons to suspect him.
Yeah, this is it. There was reason to suspect him from the get-go. I can understand kind of going, look, let's cautiously just do the witness to begin with, but we're thinking more suspect.
In the back of your mind,
in your back of your mind, you should have known that you were basically going to be re-cautioning him.
Yeah.
But the fact they just pushed through that interview as if they've never been trained.
Yeah.
That really freaking does my head in.
Yeah. It's a lot.
Yeah.
It's a lot.
Yeah.
What else did he lie about? I mean, he lied about driving Matt's car. He lied about, there were just so many things that he lied about that were then later able to be proved that he did. There was a lot of CCTV footage of him doing things. At this point, he refused to speak with the police after this because this was at the point where they're like, we've got CCTV footage of you at Bunnings. He refused to see that. He sort of stopped talking to the police around that time.
Yeah.
He exercised his right to silence and he ended up getting himself a lawyer.
Yeah.
And at this point, he was actually, so what date was that? On the 19th of August, he was charged with Matt's murder. Mm-hmm. In October of 2009, an 8-week trial by jury was held and he, I guess, how do we go through this? There was a lot of evidence given, a lot of witnesses. The trial was incredibly complex. It was very demanding on the Leveson family, most especially Mark.
Yeah.
Matt's dad, because he was one of the last people to give evidence, which meant he was unable to be in court. Faye, Jason and Peter were very early on in giving testimony. So they were actually, once you give testimony, you can then sit in the court to watch the rest of the proceedings. So they were able to do that without the support of Mark, and he really felt that was incredibly impactful to them as a family. He was second last or third last.
Oh, something like crazy like that. They were like the other family members were like within the first 6 or 7 or something, and then poor Mark wasn't until like the 20-something, giving evidence. So. Yeah, apparently that really, really separated them as a family because they couldn't communicate about what was happening in the court. And there was a lot happening in that his lawyer, Atkins' lawyer, was pretty awful to Peter particularly, calling him a liar, and Jason for that matter, when they got them on the stand and gave their evidence, because Peter was giving evidence in terms of like seeing him at Woolies and seeing him on the night at ARC. But also Jason had an example of when when Matt and Atkins were having an argument at a party he saw prior to all of this occurring, sort of establishing that this was a pattern.
Yeah.
And the lawyer just straight out was like, you're lying about that. You're just making that up now. And there was also where the police hadn't interviewed Peter early enough. They kept Peter wanted to go to the police very early on and tell them this information, and they kept putting him off. And so it wasn't his fault that the statement wasn't taken immediately. It was taken like, I think maybe a month even later.
I think it was like 5 or 6 weeks.
Yeah,
maybe.
it was something
it was a long time.
So that's poor policing. But on the stand then, the lawyer's telling him that, oh no, you made that story up at that point.
You've got
because
you had a month.
You knew to think about it.
Yeah.
No, he wanted to tell it the day it happened, but it wasn't taken by the police. And so
his story didn't change over that time at all.
But there's no evidence of that in respect to the police's documentation of it.
100%.
Which is where, so they were using all that against them when it was poor policing was the issue. And so I can understand the family being absolutely so distraught by this not falling into place as it should have.
Yeah.
Everything was lined up for them to get a slam dunk, I think, if the police had done their job.
Yeah.
Because the other bit of evidence that had been overlooked, I think at this point even, was on the there was CCTV. There was footage of Atkins' place being searched, including the storage unit. So there was the apartments, and they all had communal storage units at the bottom of where it's quite common that happens. Have a gate where there's
cage
where you have all your things. You can store things outside of your apartment. And when they did a video of that, you could see inside that little unit was the subwoofer was in that storage unit, and that was never picked up by the police.
It wasn't even documented, as in you can see it in the video, but it wasn't documented on the list of things that they had found.
So it was basically the thought process from even the Levesons, and should have been the police's thought process, was that the car was found without that in it. Now, everyone knows that he drove away from that nightclub that night with his normal music blaring out of that car. So you knew the subwoofer was in there on Saturday night.
Yep.
Yet we get to Thursday when that car's being found dumped and the subwoofer's not in there. Mm-hmm. Why?
Yeah.
Maybe to fit a body in the boot?
Oh, you reckon?
Maybe. Why else would you take that out other than to fit something big in there, because that took up so much of the boot?
It's a permanent fixture sort of thing, a subwoofer, isn't it? It's not something you can easily take in and out of a car.
No, and it was noted that when they searched the car, that when they found the receipt, they found wires. Mm-hmm. Well, what were those wires meant to be attached to? There was no connection by the police to make that thought process of hang on a second, what was meant to be here that these wires were attached to that isn't there now?
Yes.
Oh, it's that. Oh, get angry.
Oh, it's infuriating.
Yeah.
It's actually infuriating. Yeah. During the trial, Atkins decided not to give evidence, which is absolutely his right. He exercised his right to silence. And after deliberations, the jury actually came back to the magistrate and said that they were unable to reach a unanimous finding.
Yep.
And so the judge said that, okay, in that case, I will allow a non-unanimous finding, but it had to, so there were 12 jurors, it had to be 11, had to have the same verdict. And so eventually they came and after their deliberations, and they came back, they'd reached a verdict of not guilty.
Yeah.
Now, I can almost in a way understand this, because there was enough reasonable doubt, I think, in the defence's case that no one even to this day knows exactly what happened. So what the defense said was that Matt had actually staged his own disappearance because things were kind of getting a little bit too much and he wanted to leave the relationship. They admitted to that. And so there was, even though there were no signs of life, as in, his Medicare card hadn't been used, he hadn't accessed any of his money, he hadn't made contact with his family, there were no signs of life, but the jury still had no proof that he'd actually died,
because there was no body,
that he hadn't done something to himself.
And the prosecution did unfortunately pull out some random sightings of Matt that people had put forward, which, as we know with these cases, you put up a call line for these sorts of things that people do ring in, and they do think they see these people because they want to help. Yeah. But unfortunately, when you don't know someone, you probably don't really know what they look like when you see them out in the wild from just a photo. So who knows how accurate, well, I mean, we know they weren't accurate, sightings they were of Matt around the place too. So unfortunately, they did put forward, prosecution, enough reasonable doubt, to be able to put that there.
Yeah, so
and,
as you mentioned,
and the cops didn't have their ducks in a row 100%. Properly, as they should have.
So the possible sightings, they had 11 witnesses who testified to possible sightings.
Yeah.
They also had Atkins give evidence before actually no, that's actually pertaining to the inquest. So at this point, Atkins hadn't actually. They did put forward his record of interview as part of the evidence in the trial, but it didn't really say much, and that it could only be used up until that point where he wasn't then cautioned again. So all of that stuff beforehand didn't really have any sort of bearing on the outcome there.
Yeah.
So unfortunately, he walked free.
He was acquitted. Yeah.
Now, around this time, Gary Jublin comes on the scene.
Yes.
And he had actually just come back from some extended leave from the police force. Now, we know Gary Jublin, he's got his own podcast as well.
Yes.
And he was also one of the lead investigators on the William Tyrrell case for a while. So he's, very well known.
Very well known, very seasoned.
Investigator
in this. But also, so prior to him, though, there had been so many changes as to who was leading this case that I think that's another issue again with this, that I get it, people move around in the police force. I totally understand that. But, and I know the Levesons have said this, that the entire time looking at this case, they were so concerned that all of a sudden this was going to become a cold case and get dropped and just left and nothing else was going to get done with it. Which I think they were so grateful for Gary to come along because he was like a dog with a bone and he wouldn't let it go. And that was what they needed. And they didn't have that prior to him.
Apparently the first investigator they had, the first informant they had, police informant they had, she was amazing. She was incredible. But then she got moved to a different station and so they got someone else who was less than incredible. And so that really stopped the investigation in its tracks. And they would ring every month and try and get an update and there was never any updates. And so when it came to the point that Gary Jublin took it on, nothing had been done for over a year, for a long time.
Yep.
And what ended up happening was that, thank goodness for Jublin, but it ended up going...
Well, there was a coronial inquest that had already started prior to...
Gary coming on board.
Well, it had started prior to Atkins being charged, but had been suspended when he was charged. Yeah. So, obviously, because you think, okay, we've got someone here that we've now got enough evidence on. We don't need the coronial inquest necessarily. They didn't just cancel it. They suspended it just to see what would come of that. So thankfully, once in that, with him being acquitted, they did manage to have the inquest brought forward again.
So this happened it started on the 31st of October in 2016.
Yeah.
So Matt went missing in 2007.
This is it. There's it's so much time. This poor family this whole time, they don't know what's happened to Matt at all. And if you're thinking that, okay, Atkins has been acquitted, not that, we all think he did something and still to the, in that terms of like that, but, but you've got to start thinking as a family, and that if it's not Atkins, then what else happened here? And that cops shouldn't be tunnel visioned on somebody, but you also need to make sure you do dot the I's and cross the T's of everyone that you do suspect. And I don't feel that was done with Atkins before they even went to trial.
No.
So let alone now they're looking at, okay, well, we kind of can't look at Atkins in that he's been acquitted. But to find out answers for the family, you need to look at him still, but also look broader in case there is more to this. It would be so heartbreaking for the family to be back there of going, now we know nothing again.
I guess the benefit of going to a coronial inquest is that the coroner actually has different powers to that. The coronial court has different powers to that of the criminal court.
I think that was the only way they could get answers in this in the end.
That's right. And so the coroner can compel somebody to testify.
Yeah.
And they ended up having to do that with Atkins. So it's called it was an induced statement.
Well, prior to that even it was a Section 61 certificate, so the first part of this is that he was told that because he refused to give evidence. So the coroner was able to do this Section 61 which compels him to give evidence. And so he's still in that he was lying when he was giving that evidence. So he did give a lot more, but certainly not enough.
Well, he said in one of them, I think it was at this point, that he thought that Matt was alive and living in Thailand.
Yeah. And again, that's one of the ones then where they grabbed him on that and said the coroner we've already agreed that's not what's happened. We all agree he's dead.
He's deceased.
And now we're trying to find out where he is and what's happened. So because he's perjured himself, they then were able to enact the induced statement situation. Right. So that was where they basically said to him, okay, you've perjured yourself. You're going to jail. we can prove that you've perjured
And I
yourself.
believe that the term for perjury, the maximum term is 10 years.
Yeah, he wouldn't have gotten much, and that this is where the family had to make really tough decisions around this, because already with the with getting him to do the Section 61, that gave him that he could give evidence and would not go to jail. So basically, if he sat on that stand, and he'd already been acquitted anyway, but basically he could say anything on that stand and he wouldn't go to jail for it. But he didn't do that. He lied. So because he's perjuring himself, they went back to him again and were able to say to him, right, you've perjured yourself. You are going to do jail time now. So if you don't want to do that jail time, your best option now is to give us where the body is. So if he could give them, and literally they had to find the body for this to be, enacted in full, that then with that, if he gave an induced statement for that, this is outside of the coronial inquest really, this is separate to that. If you would give us an induced statement and tell us where to find the body and we find the body, you will not be done for perjury. So it gave him immunity to that.
Mm-hmm.
Amazon presents Jeff versus Taco Truck Salsa. Whether it's Verde, Roja, or the orange one. For Jeff, trying any salsa is like playing Russian roulette with a flamethrower. Luckily, Jeff saved with Amazon and stocked up on antacids, ginger tea, and milk. Habanero? More like habanero, yes. Save the everyday with Amazon.
I'm your host, Stassi Schroeder. Welcome to Tell Me Lies, the official podcast. What's the most unhinged thing of season 3?
Steven, because he's so evil.
I do think he is misunderstood.
You see everyone face consequences. It's intoxicating.
The writers just know how to trick you. There's always a twist in this show.
It's nothing you would expect.
Tell Me Lies, the official podcast, now streaming, and stream the new season of Tell Me Lies on Hulu and Hulu on Disney+.
So there's kind of two stages to it.
Yeah.
But so that's what was so shit. The family thought that they'd already given away all they had in the first one and still didn't get what they wanted. Like, in that they just wanted Matt. They want to know what happened to him, where he is. Yeah. And as they said, put him somewhere, bury him, give him the respect he deserves for them to be able to, have that. And this arsehole still wouldn't give it to them on the stand
Even though
the
there was
inquest.
zero consequences to him admitting, when I say zero consequences, zero legal consequences.
Yeah.
As in he wasn't going to go to prison for this. He just had to say what happened.
Yeah.
And where Matt's body was.
Yes.
So in this induced statement, he says that basically his story then changes to the fact that Matt overdosed. He died at home and he was worried that something bad would happen to him, to Atkins.
He was worried that his mum would find out that he was gay.
That's what he says.
Yeah. And that people would think that, or know that he was drug dealing.
Yeah.
That were his two concerns with finding his
dead
person he really loved,
lover,
dead from a drug overdose is what he claims to have occurred.
Yeah.
Gary Jublin believes that story.
I know. I know.
Do you?
No, I don't.
I
at
don't.
all.
I don't either.
I don't even for a minute. And this is so Mark and Faye, they say they've got so much respect for Gary that they respect his opinion. They respect that that's what he thinks, but they actually can't believe that that's what he thinks.
Yeah.
Because
his reason for believing it is that he thinks that no one would be stupid enough to come up with that and use that as an excuse. But I'm kind of
I think that's I think that's no.
Because at the end of the day, hey, in the scenario of, your lover has gone missing, it was always going to make a bit of a headline somewhere, wasn't it? That, that you're attached to this story of a person going missing. You're the last person who saw them alive or around, whether they are dead or are alive, missing. So what's the difference? In terms of that story, just to me doesn't add up.
It doesn't add up. It doesn't add up at all. At all.
No.
So basically then it's now up to Atkins to say where he's buried the body.
Yeah.
And so he takes them to the Royal National Park, and this is a massive it's not a park, it's a
national park.
Yeah, national park.
Huge.
It's huge.
Yeah.
And what he says to the police is that he thinks he carried Matt's body about 70 meters off a particular track. So they drive around for ages looking for whatever it is. He thinks he finds where it is. And
we should say, like prior to all of this, prior to this, Matt's family believed that that's where he'd been taken from other aspects of this story.
Well, you know how they figured this?
How's that?
So Mark, being an analytical mind, when they found Matt's car, they were able to look at his credit card and see when, or bank statement, see when he'd last filled up with petrol.
Right. And
he then worked out how far the car could have driven.
Wow. Being an accountant, he'd know his numbers.
Yep, he knows his numbers. And so they drew a radius around where they found the car and however many kilometres he thought that could have driven there and back, right?
Right.
And then they were like, oh, well, the Royal National Park makes up a big chunk of that radius.
Yep. And that's somewhere that you would go to bury a body.
So that's how they thought that that's probably where Matt was buried.
They used to go out there and dig.
Every weekend.
And look for him.
That breaks
weekend. My heart.
For 10
Can you imagine
years.
that? The brothers would go, mum and dad would go, and they would look for him. That's, God.
I know.
Oh.
I know.
This piece of shit knew all this the whole time.
Could have given them
Could have told
some
them that,
peace.
given them that.
Yep.
10 years he held onto it.
Yep.
Fucker.
Fucking piece of shit.
Yeah.
So it comes now that they're trying to find Matt's body, and he says it's about 70 meters down this track, and the police are like, really? Because Matt weighed,
wasn't big, but he was still
big, but he weighed like 75 or 80 kilos.
Yeah.
Are you sure you were able to drag a body or carry a body that? So they actually got him a weight that was the size of Matt.
They got a mannequin of that and weight at that weight. Yeah.
And he was like, oh no, there's no way I could have done this far.
No. Yeah.
So he's like, it probably was about this far. So they've then cordoned off this area. They've brought in all of the police excavators. Like, I'm talking heavy machinery because this is dense bushland.
Yeah.
Matt at this point had been dead for 10 years. So he'd been there for 10 years. And anyway, they're looking, I think they had 3 weeks left to the end of the time.
Yeah.
So they're looking every day, 7 days a week, massive amounts of police resources out there. And obviously they're looking. It comes to the final hour of the final day, and an excavator accidentally backs up and knocks over a sago palm.
Mm-hmm.
And with that, they're like, oh, well, it's been sort of knocked over now. Let's go and have a look. And they found I think they found a hip bone first.
I think so.
And they're like, oh, my God. And anyway, they ended up excavating the site, and there was a full skeletal remains of an adult male, which was then later on tested and found to be that of Matthew Leveson.
Yeah.
I can't even imagine how that must have felt for Mark, Faye, Peter and Jason and the extended family and friends of Matt's. But for Mark and Faye, this was what they wanted. They wanted Matt's remains. They wanted to be able to lay him to rest and to give him the send-off that he deserved.
Yeah.
In the lead up to his death, it was leading up to his 21st birthday, and Faye was saying that, before he'd met Atkins, she knows he would have had a cocktail party, he would have had music and fun, and it would have been amazing. But he'd been with Atkins at this point long enough that he'd kind of really dulled himself down a lot. And Atkins was like, oh, we'll just have a barbecue in the backyard with a keg for his 21st. And
that's not
Faye
what
was
Matt
like,
would have wanted.
Faye was like, Matt didn't even drink beer. Like, what the fuck? It was, that the end of his life was so burdened by Atkins' actions that he just...
he dulled
himself.
him down, and that's not who he was.
No.
And that's awful.
Matt's described by so many people. You see photos of him and you think, oh, absolutely, he was this.
He would have been so much fun.
He would have been so much fun.
So
he was
kind.
And he was a really attractive young man. He was, you could tell he was the life of the party. He had the biggest smile,
Yes.
hair exactly, perfectly coiffed or, you could see that a lot of time had gone into making it look the way it looked.
Well maintained.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And Atkins robbed him of all of that, of everything. And what is he in the end? His skeletal remains found in a national park.
It's just not what he deserved at all.
No. not at all. So Faye and Mark and the boys did hold a funeral for Matt, a memorial for Matt, and it was incredibly well attended.
Yeah, I bet.
And, so many people spoke so highly of him, and I've got some quotes that I can talk to about that. Sorry, it wasn't a sago palm, it was a cabbage palm that his body was found under.
I wouldn't know the difference.
No, you wouldn't. So one of his friends, Rachel Sankey, said that he had the most amazing, huge and contagious smile. When he smiled, it would just light up the room and you couldn't help but smile too. His personality just captured the entire room. When I think about Maddie, the first thing that comes to mind is laughter and feeling happy and all of the wonderful times we had together. And what I think is absolutely lovely is that the community really rallied around Faye and Mark at this time, and lots of people donated their time to redo their garden.
Yeah.
And they brought that cabbage palm home and planted it at home. Faye and Mark both say that cabbage palm was nourished by Matt's body and by his remains, and it belongs to them and it belongs to him, and it really is a source of comfort to them having that at home. So that's.
I didn't read it anywhere because they did speak about in a lot of things that I talked about. That I read that they've got a lot of tattoos, even so Mark and Faye, including the brothers, but and one of them in particular I'm going to talk about. But did they end up getting a palm tree tattoo? I think so.
I believe so.
It's another one of Mark's tattoos that I think sums up this case, unfortunately.
100%.
And it hits me hard.
Yep.
He has had this tattooed on himself, and he made sure that police officers saw this.
It's on his arm for that reason.
So that he can, pull it out and show people and make sure people see it without really, putting it glaringly obviously in people's faces. And it reads, "It's not a justice system. It is just a system." Because this family didn't get the justice they deserved, and Matt didn't get the justice he deserved. Atkins walks the streets and continues to do exactly what he's done in the past, and that is prey on young men.
2 weeks after Matt went missing, we now know he was already deceased, but 2 weeks after he went missing, he was already in a relationship with another 17-year-old boy.
The following Sunday, he was at an event with a young man of the age of 17 as well.
Yep.
A particular, what's it called? There's a big event.
I've got it written
Can't remember what it was
down
called
somewhere.
now.
Hold on.
That
It was called the Sleaze Ball.
Sleaze Ball event, that's right.
So it was a fundraising event for the Mardi Gras.
Yeah.
I think actually Matt had bought the tickets to that and Atkins still went and then when Faye asked him about it, he's like, I just wanted to see if Matt would show up. You had the tickets, you fuckwit.
And you took some other 17-year-old.
Yep.
He's an absolute disgusting piece of shit.
By the way, so Atkins had been having an affair pretty much throughout his entire relationship with Matthew.
Yeah.
With an 18-year-old man, and several other people were flings during that time. The other thing that Atkins pressured Matt into was having threesomes. This was something that Matt wasn't interested in at all.
Yeah.
But I guess he felt so, I don't know, controlled by Atkins, or that he was going to lose Atkins if he didn't do this. And Atkins would actually make Matt go out and find boys and men of his age, bring them back to the
It's even worse.
It's so awful. It's so awful. And I can't even imagine. Matt didn't want that.
No.
He didn't want any of that.
That's awful.
He just wanted a partner who loved him for who he was and wanted to be with him and treated him well.
Yeah.
And he didn't get that.
No.
And that is not okay.
I mean, Atkins has moved to Queensland now.
Yeah.
And he's not far out of Brisbane at another spot where it is, party central kind of thing.
Yeah. Well, he's basically in the new, the gay part of Queensland.
Yeah. And
so preying on
young boys again. And he's now, a fair bit older again and still doing this. I mean, it's just awful. I do not buy that Matt overdosed and died and he just disposed of the body. I 100% believe there was more to that.
I think,
whether it was, pushed him and...
I think it was more intentful than that. But the reason I say this is because we've spoken about this on the podcast before, that the most dangerous time to leave a coercive relationship the most dangerous time in a relationship, in a coercive relationship, is when you leave.
Yeah.
And I think Matt was at the point of leaving. Like he'd spoken about plans to move overseas for a while. He'd spoken about trying to get out. He was non-verbally telling his mum and dad he'd had enough too, by these like extra lingering hugs and really saying to them, I love you so much, like really holding on to those relationships that meant so much to him.
Yeah.
And this is what happened. So I think that Atkins murdered Matt.
I do too.
And disposed of his body in a shallow grave, for fuck's sake, as well. Like, it's just horrible. There's no respect in any of this from Atkins, of Matt when he was alive or when he was dead. And yeah, I guess I don't think Matt was in a state that would have led to his death that night either. I believe Peter knew Matt more than anyone.
Absolutely.
If he says that Matt wasn't, completely out of it, I believe that.
Same. I think his brother knew him better than anyone.
And I guess if Matt had overdosed, who gave him that? So what Atkins says is that they went home and Matt put a whole free pour of GHB into a glass and took it. That's what he says happened.
Yeah.
Nothing of that can be proven because there's no tissue left.
No.
GHB is also something that's naturally produced in the body. So unless you'd had a massive, massive overdose of it, it would have been probably quite hard to detect days and days later, even if his body had been found earlier anyway.
Right.
So I don't know. It's all too convenient. I cannot believe that man is walking the streets.
No.
I can't believe it.
And I do blame the police for that.
Yep.
It's their failings that have led to that. I think if this was done correctly from the get-go, Atkins was a clear standout suspect. And if he'd been treated as such and the cops had actually been, and I'm going to go there. I hope I'm wrong, but I honestly feel like there was a bit of homophobia in this from the police department in terms of the way they treated this. I don't think they took it as seriously as it should have been because of it being a young gay man.
I agree.
I think the timing in terms of being 2007, I think that wouldn't happen now, and I bloody hope not.
No.
But I do think that was part of this. I think they did sort of go, oh, no, well, we're just not going to deal with that as well as we would have otherwise if this was, a heterosexual relationship, as we said about the male-female, being the age gap.
You look at Matt, right? He was a young, blonde, really stunning man.
Yep.
If that was a young, blonde, really stunning woman.
With a 45-year-old man, this case would have been front and center, and it would have been all resources pumped into it.
100%.
And it wasn't, and I want to call that out. I think it's absolutely disgusting on their behalf, and it needed to be dealt with so much better. And I feel for the Leveson family so much for that.
Oh, me too. They are, as we said at the start of this episode, they are incredible people. They are incredible advocates. They don't want Matt's life to be forgotten, and they don't want anyone else to have to suffer this fate.
No.
So they are still out in the media. They still tell Matt's story to this day. They assisted in a book that was written about the case. They've been involved in numerous podcasts and television appearances, and they will not let Matt's legacy die. And I really applaud them for that, because that would be really hard.
Yeah.
But they're doing it anyway.
No. I wrote down here on my notes because my brain's not working, so I had to write notes, so I'm going to read it. I said, the majority of the 10-year delay came from early investigative gaps, lack of follow-up, and failure to leverage available evidence. And I just think that is what occurred here, and it's wrong.
Yeah.
It's wrong. And, I don't know. There's no way of compensating the family for that now.
Oh, no.
But the best way, the only way to compensate it in any remote way is to make change and do better.
Yep.
And I really hope that's what's going to happen from here on out.
I hope they've learnt, as in the police force, the investigators have learnt from this.
Yeah.
And, nobody will be found in a situation like this again.
No way. Oh, awful.
Oh, it's horrible.
a podcast. I mean, I don't know if you listen to, was that long form one called Maddie, which is really good if anyone wants to listen to real high level detail of this case. It's a really good podcast to check out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's fantastic.
But
Really
there's
well
lots
done.
of-
It's a Case File Presents podcast, so it's very well produced.
Yeah.
And it was it's hosted by Rachel. Now, what's her name?
Oh God, what's her name?
She is the founder of MPAN, so the Missing Persons Advocacy Network, and her brother Dan went missing and was a missing person, and she is an absolute advocate in this space. She talks a lot about ambiguous loss and how difficult that is for families, and just how hard it is to be the family of a missing person, because it's a very particular type of loss.
Absolutely.
And it's something that there wasn't really support for, especially when her brother went missing, which is what prompted her to find MPAN.
Yeah.
So if that's a situation that hopefully nobody ever finds themselves in.
But unfortunately, many people do. It's
that's
awful.
right. And people go missing for so many different reasons.
Yep.
It's not just cases like this, which are the ultimate tragedy, but people go missing for lots of different reasons, and it doesn't necessarily mean th're deceased. It's not illegal to go missing.
No, and
that's,
at the start of her
hard.
podcast, I really resonated with it because I've lost my child once, and she said, like, imagine that feeling. Every mother's been through that, like, and father for that matter. That you lose your kid for that split second, and oh God, they're gone for a few minutes. Imagine that for an hour. Imagine that for a week, and imagine that then for 10 years. Feeling like that, not knowing where your child is, like, it's just sickening. Absolutely sickening. Yeah. I couldn't. I don't know how they keep going, but they did, to the point of in the coronial inquest. I found it was really fascinating that, and so much pressure on that family that they was told, you should get your own lawyer for the coronial inquest. And the family, they were like, we can't afford to pay someone 10, 12 grand a day to be here. And lawyers are fucking expensive. What did Mark do? He went and got a bit of advice from legal aid, which they weren't eligible for, but he got some advice there, and he stood up and did that case on his own as their legal representation. Holy shit.
Oh, he's such an impressive man.
To the point where someone said to Faye, geez, you're lucky that your husband's a lawyer.
A barrister.
And she
she's
laughed.
Like,
He's an accountant.
He's an accountant. But he, he really educated himself, and he was...
read the act. He did all the stuff, did the reading and got, enough knowledge to get himself through it.
See, this is another failing in our system, that they are victims and it is
had to
incumbent upon them to pay for their own lawyer. That should not happen.
That shouldn't happen in these situations, especially
They
when you
are
get to the end of this, and this is the
crime.
outcome where that asshole was able to pinpoint where that body was. So he clearly did it, and he's admitted to it because he said he found the body, or even what he admitted to, which I don't think is true.
Yeah.
He's admitted enough to know that that's what happened, that he's responsible.
Yeah.
Yet they would have had to have forked out, God, how, no, because it went on for months.
Yeah, it was 8 weeks, 2 months it went on for.
So, I mean, how much money that would have cost them if they had gone with paying
You'd
a
be
lawyer.
bankrupt.
You'd be bankrupt. And that poor family then, yet another hit on them. Oh, it's just disgusting. The system is so wrong.
It's just a system.
It is just a system. And it's a broken fucking system.
Absolutely.
We've got to do better than that.
We've got to do better.
Yeah.
Like, you think all of this money that's seized during crime, like, why can't that be used for families like the Levesons?
Exactly.
Or I don't know. There has to be a better way. Speaking of money as well, this is the other thing that Mark sort of, and this is one of the legacies that he's still pushing to this day, is reward money for missing people.
Yeah.
Or for information that leads to the finding of a body or whatever.
Yeah.
He was saying when Matt first went missing, they offered $10,000. They had to fight to make it $100,000.
Yeah.
And then he's like, it should just be blanket $1 million.
Yep.
And he said it almost never gets paid out.
This is it. It never gets paid out.
But it gives the publicity to the case.
Yeah.
If there's $1 million around it, you might get 10 bits of information from 10 different places that add up to something. Or you might shake, especially 10 years later, you might shake someone out of a tree that, wouldn't have said something that time, but does say, if there's a significant, no one's doing anything for $10,000.
No.
That's a fucking kick in the teeth.
Yeah,
That's not, no.
No.
So that's another one of the legacies that Mark's trying to push forward is that, a standard missing person reward is $1 million.
Yep. Well, because a person's loved one is worth more than 10 grand. That's it's awful.
Gross. Yeah.
Oh, wow.
All right.
Thank you. You did an awesome job today.
You did an awesome job. You're amazing.
No.
You are absolutely amazing. All right, stick with us for next week. We actually haven't even decided which case we're covering yet. So we'll get on to that and keep an eye on the socials. We really look forward to bringing you another episode next week.
Absolutely. Love doing this. This is great. Thank you, everyone. And Lee forgot, stay curious, crime besties.
Bye.